I didn't know my one part from my other part when it came to running a business. And when I first started, I was like fully focused on getting my logo set. That's all I really thought I needed.
Hello and welcome to the And Both podcast. Here we are going to hear from moms and those in motherhood that are doing the thing that works for them. They are honoring themselves alongside the all-encompassing role and level of expectation that is modern motherhood. And we are going to hear from as many different people as possible in their own experience. So you can find people to relate to. You can hear stories that will make you laugh, make you cry, all of the above, and that we will come together as a community to support one another in a way that is holistic and honoring of the woman and the mother as a whole. All right, I am here with the lovely and amazing Dr. Dara Storch from Seacoast Mobile PT, and she is joining us today to talk about the and both of motherhood, life, and all of the things in between.
All of the things.
Welcome, Dara.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody, because everybody needs to know who you are, what you do, and all of the magical things.
Oh my gosh. Well, I started my career in magic and no, just kidding. I have 2 kids that are both in grade school and sports and all of the things. And they love the outdoors and they love the dog and they love everything but bedtime. So that's good. And I own a PT practice. And in my practice, I go see people in their houses and I get them better. And most of my people are like our age and they're too busy to do anything about the fact that they hurt. And so I thought I can help that. And so I do. And that's me in a nutshell. Like we work, we try and get enough sleep, we try and hydrate. But most of the time it's coffee, not water. Although the water is here. I have my supportive water bottle nearby. It's like a hydration, emotional support water bottle. Like a hydration seeing eye dog. It's nearby.
Yes. Right? I see you. You see me.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the room together.
Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. Just busy. And some days are good and some days are bad. And some days I love working for myself and other days I don't. And sometimes in the same day, I both love working for myself and not working for myself.
It is. And the thing about working for yourself is that if you don't do it, it will just sit there and wait for you.
Just sits there. Or it costs
like the wet laundry.
It costs you so much more money to have somebody else do it, which is irritating. And I think necessary in some aspects of my business and wildly unnecessary in others. And like finding the balance of what those things are like is, that's part of the trick. And that is also a moving target.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. And I love the idea that like the world is so busy now and there's so many things jammed in there that the practice that you created fits a market of people that essentially wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to go to therapy. They wouldn't be able to do these things. So then you talk about, we can therapy reminisce in our time together, all the live long day. But how many people when we worked acute together in rehab were decades of injuries that they just never got around
absolutely
to,
just overlooked. Because life is busy. The people I get to see are you and me. They have jobs, they have kids, they have dogs, they have hobbies, and they have injuries. And like most of their injuries are middle-aged people injuries, which means you sneezed wrong, you stepped off the step wrong, you rolled over in bed, just with your neck facing to the left instead of the right. And then that ski injury from 20 years ago flares up, or that shovel injury from the winter of 2015. And all of a sudden your shoulder hurts. And so what do? Like you stop moving your shoulder. Okay, now your shoulder doesn't hurt. But then like your kid is like, catch me, mom. And they come flying at you. And all of a sudden you have a bigger injury And so I get to help people before they get the bigger injury.
I like that.
Because
it's helpful, in the whole function thing, because we also live in a world where there is no time off. There is no downtime. There is no let's just revisit this tomorrow, especially if you're self-employed.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you can always put it on tomorrow's list. Tomorrow's list just gets bigger.
That whiteboard, you just keep kicking down the road.
I love my whiteboard.
Well, mine is hanging out here. It's my it's the all of the things. It's the big picture, and then I can plan from there.
Yep, absolutely.
So I want to ask you about your and both.
My and both.
What that means is, what is the I hate the word balance, but the word balance I have no other alternative for in my pre-caffeinated level of function. What is the thing for you that you want to do, you want to focus on, you want to, whatever it is, at the same time as all of these roles and responsibilities that you take on? What is it you specifically?
It's the quality time with my kids and the weekends. Like, they're in school all day, and then they do after school because I work and my husband works. And the hours that we get them, I mean, the summer is looser. They're in camp, but we do more vacations and camping trips, and the quality time is there. But for me, it's just teaching them that it's not all checklists. Because my husband and I both have such a tendency to live in the checklist. Like, what are the things that have to be done so that we can function, and when can we squeeze them in? And I think that's where I have trouble finding balance, is the checklist is done or the quality time is done. But I feel like it can be smoother.
Yeah, it's hard. My husband suggested that since I design planners, that I just start designing one that has 8 days.
Perfect.
He's like, just put an 8th day in there.
I'm in.
And I'm like, but I'm not sure how that would work. Yeah. He's like, no, you should just do that, because then people will just put everything on that 8th day.
Yeah. And then, listen, if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. So whatevs.
And so tell me about your experience, I guess, or your kids just started, your youngest just went in.
My youngest just started kindergarten,
so you're ultimately fresh out of the daycare. All of that bubble, and how that all influences your day, your life.
It's so, pre-K was farther away. Their school now is we're walkers. It's so close. And
that's awesome.
So we walk to drop off, we walk to pick up. They start their day with a walk, they end their day with a walk, which I love, only because I love yelling at my oldest to slow down and then turning around and yelling at my youngest to speed up. That's quality time that I'm looking for. But
the constant state
of just we took so we have a puppy, and we took him for a walk the other day, and he's he loves his boys so much, but he's bouncing one end of the leash to the other. Got to catch up with that one. Got to go back with that one. And I was like, this is not a fruitful training walk at all. But a fun time was had by my children.
And I also need, and you also need to do some of your own shoulder exercises when you get home for yourself. I guess I know these strategies.
Yeah, exactly. Where's my posture? But yeah, so I think the transition from daycare to school for us, the big one, is one drop off, one pickup, one time. In the summer, my husband was doing morning and I was doing afternoon, which when it's 20 minutes away and it takes them 30 minutes to get their backpacks and walk back to the car, your day is cut. Mm-hmm. It's cut an hour shorter than it should be. Not than it should be, but than it is in the school year. So now, I think we're going to see, we're a week and a half into school. I think we're going to see a little opening up of that, of our time back, which is really nice. I have a lovely husband. He's around here somewhere. We high five each other on the way to bath and books, and you know?
And so that creates that space for.
I think so. I think
the
that should
quality time
create
you're
some of the
talking
space for like both quality time for us. Like we got breakfast this morning. We got breakfast out. Well, I put the order in, he picked it up. But like we have like chunks of time in the morning and chunks of time in the afternoon. It's it's how much easier is it to start a load of laundry when nobody's in the house? Exponentially
Right.
easier.
When you're not worried someone's going to like follow you and fall down the stairs behind you.
I mean, not so you're still there. I'm not even there. It's just like, oh, can I help? Yeah, I definitely wanted this to take 45 minutes longer. I would love that you help. It's like training the dog. Like the investment needs to go into it. I get that. I fully respect that. You want to help cook. You want to help do laundry. I love all those things. But if you're not helping, I can do it quickly and then we can do Legos. And if you are helping, it's going to end in tears in 45 minutes when we can't do Legos. You know, again, that balance.
And you're like, how come there's no Legos?
Yeah. And also the laundry is not done.
Marches on. Yeah. And also the wet load of laundry that was down from 7:00 this morning is now still wet. Good news.
Get to run that again. Would you like to pour the soap? Good.
Yeah. And everyone needs a snack now. It's been 45 minutes. We all need a snack.
Yep. Everyone have a snack and we'll just move on.
It's that like that constant, like, I know this is important. I want you to go to school. Like, I want you to go to college and know how to do laundry.
Yes.
However, today is not the day that I need to teach you how to do laundry.
It seems like a skill for tomorrow. Day 8. So that's a day 8 skill. Maybe I'm just gonna start referring to everything that I don't want to teach them today as a day 8 skill.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking this might work. Maybe instead of a to-do list, we'll just make the 8th day.
There you go.
That'll just be your to-do list.
Just to put that. Can you put that on day 8 for me? Just
schedule.
Yeah, I'm in.
Do you think I can get a hold of Google and be like, hey, could you actually just rework your calendar?
Hey, Google, if you could just put an 8 in for me, that'd be great. Listen, the year is still going to go the same amount of time. We're just going to have fewer months. It's fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
February's already short.
Just time that I have to hear about.
Listen, don't hate on pumpkin spice. There's no need for that.
Pumpkin spice is black or white, man.
It's just cinnamon flavored sugar. Okay. That's all it is.
And it's all squash anyways.
It is.
I read this, saw this somewhere, that the pumpkin filling is actually mostly squash.
Just squash. There you go. Listen, well, if it's growing like my garden, I got all the squashes this year and one pumpkin, one pumpkin, which I'm really looking forward to carving, mostly so my kids can fight over who gets to do it.
Yes.
Yep. I think that maybe it'll just be a decoration pumpkin. I think that's
I like that. I get the painted ones from where you can paint them or stick the things in them from Target.
Yeah, I like that.
Saves an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you launched a business in the middle of the pandemic.
In the middle of the pandemic, yeah.
With kids home.
Yeah, it felt like a good choice.
And you were home. And all of that. So tell
and kindergarten.
The whole wide world about and kindergarten. Tell the whole wide world about that process. Because I know you and I have had many a phone call of a WTF variety as we were both launching businesses in pandemics with children, but that whole experience.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I didn't know my one part from my other part when it came to running a business. And when I first started, I was like fully focused on getting my logo set. That's all I really thought I needed. Once you had a logo, everyone would know who you were, and then you'd be fine. And a lot of people in my life that knew better were like, Dara, you're not focusing on the right thing. And I was like, what do you know? Business. They knew business, but I didn't know business. So I thought, this is a small thing that I can, So the logo was something small that I could manage. And I could spend 5 minutes on here, there, and everywhere where people were constantly pulling my attention. Then I read some books, and what books they were, I couldn't tell you to save my life right now, but they were like how to start a business books and what to do with your money books. And then things started to fall in line. And then I got some support from a business coach. And for whatever reason, my friends and family who were well versed in running a business were not capable of getting through to me the same exact message that the woman I paid to do it was. And my brain heard her and I did what she said. And then I got a website and my husband built that because that's what he does for work. But he begrudgingly built it,
awesome.
But he lovingly built it. And it was just like,
Yeah,
I mean, it was
right there.
it was fits and spurts. Like it was not a smooth transition. I did not have infinite time and mental space. It was massive productivity for like an hour and a half. And then 2 weeks of minimal productivity. It was ups and downs and bumps and spending money on stuff that I definitely should not have spent money on. And then it was second guessing stuff that I absolutely should have spent money on. I mean, it was definitely a learning process, and it was not smooth and it was not always pleasant, although sometimes really exciting. And I mean, I think that still goes on today. Like, I think I'm running a pretty successful business, and when it's great, it's great. And when it's not, it's frustrating and it's overwhelming.
Too,
and
it's a lot. It's a lot to take it on. But I think too, like a lot of times what people, and I definitely fell into that trap where it was like, I have no option, no viable option for a career and raising my kids in a way that allows us to do anything outside of like, I mean, like my salary in inpatient would have covered maybe two of my kids going to daycare.
Yeah.
And it was that balance there where it's like, I'm going to go to work and basically give it all away. And then, you know, seeing people that, you know, doing the elephant walk of parenting, right, is like seeing people before you that are doing that. And then they have no vacation time because they have to take their vacation to when their kids are sick.
April and February vacation.
All that constant. Yeah. And then we get looped into that. It's good to not know what you don't know when you're starting a business is what I keep telling myself, because if you knew, you'd never start.
Yeah, I think in some cases, ignorance is definitely bliss. I think learning slowly for me was the way that I needed to learn it. I think at the beginning when everyone was trying to throw the information at me, it was too much. It was, I mean, on top of the stress of like all of the other things that were happening in our lives, it was too much information of a nature that I didn't want to know. I just want to be a physical therapist. I do not want to be a marketing guru. Right. I do not want to bill. I do not want to manage like my website and all of those things. Like, I love being a physical therapist. I find it infinitely soul soothing. It meets all of my emotional needs. I get to do what I'm good at. I get to help people that really need it, all of those things. And I think for me, I really like balked at the business part because it's not where my strength lies. And so like getting help to do that was worth its weight in gold, because there could be somebody who's like, you're fine. You're going to be okay.
Well, and too, like, you've got to find a resource that you can say, do I need to focus on this? And they say no. And you're like, okay, no. Versus like, even, somebody that, it's like, well, you always have that, like, are they looking out for me, or are they looking out for your assumption is that everyone's being helpful, because I think people are really trying to help if that's where they're coming at it from, like a business background. But it's like, are you trying to protect me from spending all this money? Are you trying to show me the quick way? All of that stuff. And there's a certain amount of like crawling and stumbling before you can run with it.
For sure.
I think you still have to know all of those pieces in the background too. You still have to know how to run the website, even if you hate it.
Yeah,
Hands
absolutely.
up in the air for that one. You still have to like create the things, even if you're sitting there like yelling at Canva at 11:30 at night. I've heard.
So I've heard that you could yell at Canva and she doesn't get upset. Yes. Canva. What a helpful piece of material.
So what is your, now that school is in session, now that you are crazy busy, what are you looking forward to?
The fall.
Now that you're already busy,
now that I'm very busy
for?
I love the fall. The fall is my favorite. I like the weather. My birthday's in November, so that's always nice. I think I'm just looking forward to like setting the new schedule and finding the new rhythm. Like we had so much change at the end of the summer. We got a new puppy. The kid, both kids are in the same school. My husband returned to the office a couple days a week. So the last 3 weeks have been very like spaghetti at the wall. We're just gonna, we're gonna find out what works best. And yelling is not it, in case anyone was wondering. Getting super frustrated at the not listening and the fact that like everyone in our house is getting used to a new schedule. That's yelling doesn't help. Yeah, I think setting some like personal goals for this fall. I've been reading more, which is fantastic. So I usually get up early.
That's awesome.
And I do some reading, and then a girlfriend of mine and I do a couple miles, which the dog, I took him this morning and he's zonked out.
Fun.
Yes.
Perfect.
So double barrel, double win there. But yeah, I think just like settling into the new schedule in the fall is really what I'm looking forward to, and working for myself. The benefit of like looking forward to those days off, I don't have to approve days off. If my kids are sick, my husband and I sort of figure out who fits best in the days off schedule. But if they have Columbus Day off, if they have a week off here or a week off there, I can make sure that those are times that I'm off. I'm just off, and I can look ahead and forecast my visits with clients so that I know that I'm meeting their needs and I'm meeting my family's needs. And I love having that control of it, like of really the long view of knowing what's coming down the pike for the next 6, 8, 12 weeks, and just being able to like plan for it, so that the quality time is more quality and less like tire fire.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, right? Like that's what we're all chasing is we're all chasing that option, that opportunity to say, okay, I get to call the shots. I don't have to request. I don't have to.
Yes. Nobody rubber stamps what I'm doing. Which can go both ways. I mean, that's a double-edged sword. That means that nobody's holding my feet to the fire to do marketing and paperwork that needs to be done and maintain my business, which at times I could use a swift kick in the ass for. But also, right? But also, I
don't know what you're talking about.
But like, again, those days are like, you have like the ups and the downs. You have the days where you're like, the kids go to school and you're like, sweet Mary, I just need to like sit in a puddle and just like, I don't know, TikTok for the next 2 hours and then beat myself up about that time wasted. And then you have the other days, like today, I got up, the dog and I did a half an hour. I've got a jambalaya in the Instant Pot. I'm doing this with you. I've got clients all afternoon and I feel good about it. Like, I think working for yourself allows you a little more forgiveness for those days. But again, also allows like, if I worked for somebody else and I had a bad day, I'd probably be fine because I'd have to go work for somebody else and then I'd be fine. Like you don't get to self-indulge quite as much when you work for somebody else, but also you don't get to do like the full accomplishments. You don't get to feel the full ownership of all of your outcomes. If you work for somebody else.
Yeah, your alignment with what you have the energy for and what you need to get done and all of that. I just feel like it's always off. Like if you're in an office and you're waiting for someone to come in and tell you what your day looks like, it's like, okay, I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
And as much as I understand the system has to flow, I'm also not, when you don't see all of the working parts,
Yeah.
so when you own your own business, you see all your own working pieces, like A plus B equals C, or A plus B equals F, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But not being able to see all those calculations, it's easy to be like, I don't know why this is happening this way. So being able to have that overhead view.
Yeah. I mean, also, in healthcare, when you work for a healthcare system, sometimes it's really dumb. Even if you know how it's working, and it's not always serving the people who need to be served. And that includes the therapists and it includes the patients. And most of the time it includes management, but somebody's getting served, and they usually get like $11 million bonuses. So that is one other nice aspect, is that I can give my clients what they need when they need it. I can help them advocate for themselves. Like, I can do a lot of things working for me that I wouldn't be able to do working for a company that was run by insurance, which is really nice.
And also you have a license. And I think that sometimes that we get, when you go through the process of going to school and becoming a licensed practitioner of many different kinds, is that there are a lot of rights, a lot of responsibilities that you carry with that license. And there's a level that you're upheld to via state, via nationally. And that what happens is that people, that means something to us. However, when you go into work for an organization, that's a checkbox as a qualification for that job.
Right.
And that you lose that
autonomy.
Ability to say, this is it's just out the window. Like, we just punch the numbers on the letters on your name tag, but here's what you're going to do with this person.
Yeah.
And I think that was that's why I started a private practice on the off end of leaving the hospital, is because it was like same feeling. Like, these people need something that they're not able to get here, and not because they're doing anything wrong, but because we're not able to, as this large organization, meet this individual where they are individually, because it's a system, right? It's a big hospital system.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that person doesn't have those needs. And that doesn't mean that I'm also not the most qualified person to meet those needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Snaps all around. Well, I think that what you're doing is amazing. I think that being able to to meet people where they're at, being able to make it all work, and maybe yell at Canva at 11:30 at night every once in a while, run that 17th load of laundry, all of that, and fitting it in. But I do like the conversation around being able to live in alignment with what you need at that time, and that having the ability to call your own shots. Well, it's hard to get to that space. Once you're there, it's like, well, how could I ever go back?
Yeah.
To knowing what I know now, could I do that again?
Yep. Well, and I think what you're doing is amazing, because you're actively giving people a way to organize their chaos. And that's all. We're just managing chaos out here. That's all it is. And having a way to
trying to file in a hurricane.
As you know, an organizational system that makes sense is worth its freaking weight in gold. It can make it so that that balance is more achievable, because you can see it all, right? And when you can see it all, you can beautiful mind your pieces where they need to go for whatever works for your schedule, or your kids, or your business, or whatever those things are. Yeah. It's just invaluable.
Trying inch by inch. We're both out here trying to make it a little bit easier, put the pieces together, take care of the parents. I think
we're just dragging our past selves into a future that we once envisioned. I know that a pre-child Dara was just so much more optimistic about the things that she could achieve in her life. I mean, maybe she was well rested. There's a chance it's just the sleep. But I mean, I think nuggets of this business. I know that the beginning of this business idea was the result of a much younger me, a much more optimistic me, a much more motivated me. And I think that's part of what this is like looking to the future, knowing like, honestly, like you and I we're in it right now. We are swimming in it. Half of yours are out of it. Half of your children are self-sufficient to a level that I can only dream of right now. But like, I think that like part of this part of our business and part of this part of our lives is just recognizing that like the slog will be worth it to bring it back to the dog and the kids. Like, we don't want to teach our kids how to do the laundry. They have to know how to do the laundry, and it's worth the time investment in teaching them how to do the laundry. But while you're teaching them how to do the laundry, it is a freaking slog. I think the same goes for starting a business. Like, you might want to have a business someday. And in order to have a business someday, you have to teach yourself and have other people who know more than you teach you how to run a business. And while you're learning how to run a business, it is a fucking slog. But, you know, I think that's probably a pretty good metaphor for like what this is all about.
Too. And I definitely feel like, like the idea for my own business came from this desire to have a space where everyone could actually like do this together, you know, to not this idea of like, mom didn't pack my soccer bag, or like, what are we having for dinner, or all of that came about as like, as I was marching into parenthood of like, I do not want that for myself. However, there are no tools. So let's make the tools so that there's a chance that there are people who will be able to go through this in a way where it doesn't, that's not the norm.
Yeah.
Like if that's the only option, if there's only ever option A and there's no option B, everyone will choose option A, not because option A is right, but because
option B doesn't exist.
What the best fit is. It's
absolutely.
Exactly. And you're doing option B, parents that aren't waiting until they have arthritis and this, that, and the other thing because they did not address issues in the moment.
Well, because option B wasn't available. Yep. So I put option B up there.
That's what we should just call it. Option B.
Option B on day 8.
The option. Who's your marketing person? let's like conference call that one in.
You're looking at her.
Oh, that's right. I'll have my marketing person tell your marketing person. Hey.
Isn't this just a marketing podcast?
Yes, it is now. It's officially changed in this moment to a marketing podcast. Oh my gosh.
I feel like a complete aside, every single time I go to put an ad together or like make a video or anything, like there is something broken in my brain because every single time it starts off like an oops, I crapped my pants infomercial from Saturday Night Live. I'm like, do you have back pain? Like come on down to Bargain Basement Discount, back pains are us. Like I just, there's a switch in my head that's like, it should definitely be an SNL skit. Like sketch?
Yes.
Skit. There's a word there.
Close enough.
But like every single time I can't like not make a marketing anything, Canva, YouTube, you name it, without like 73 revisions. Cause I'm like, Dara, this is real. You can't just stick around all day.
Stop dragging the pom-poms out of the closet. Put the pom-poms down. Walk away from the pom-poms.
Sometimes when I get nervous. Yeah.
Jazz hands. Spirit fingers.
I love that.
Oh. All right. Well, you have to tell everybody where to find you because if you are a parent who has injured yourself shoveling, raking leaves, blowing snow,
chucking a kid over your shoulder,
or getting out of the car.
My favorite.
Exactly, because you've
standing up from a low chair. You can find me at seacoastmobilept.com, or I'm on Facebook at Seacoast Mobile Physical Therapy or Dara Storch. And I'm happy and willing to answer questions for anybody who has like a dumb pain question. I want people to be able to move better, and I genuinely want our generation to not move like our parents' generation because they're not looking so good.
Yes.
So proactive approach to injuries.
We have seen the future.
We have seen the future. It's not great. It does have a lot of pickleball in it, but it's not,
Not ideal.
Anyway, fix it now.
Well, thank you. Yes. Get ahead of it.
Get ahead of it.
Preparation is key.
That's right.
Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's lovely to see you.